and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This episode we're going to be going over a few bits and bobs. There's no real title to this, so you'll probably see that when it goes live. But the main sort of part of it will be, why do you play WoW? Why would you play WoW? What is the purpose of it? And then I've got a few things added on just in case that doesn't cover the time. But yeah, so it's a very much bits and bobs sort of pieces, and it kind of incorporates a lot of things. So stick around to find out if there's anything that sort of entices you essentially in this episode. But we will start off with the weekly news as always. Besrikron, Zakali Elders and Aerostar are your weekly world bosses. They are located in Waking Shore, the Zaralak Caverns and Emerald Dream. I'm getting quicker at that. I remember it. Battlegrounds is your bonus event for this week. This means that you get more honour for competing in Battlegrounds, and this allows you to gear up ults if you're looking to do P, etc. Packed House is your brawl for the week. Now, Packed House is a 15 versus 15 in an arena. So it is a first team to kill the other team wins, and essentially it's very claustrophobic in terms of the amount of players in the small space. So you want to just get in there, send everything very quickly to win these. Ranged are very much more forgiving in these sort of game modes, I would say. Volcanic, Spiteful and Fortified are your mythic fixes for the week. Volcanic, there are small volcanoes that erupt underneath your character. Just simply move from them. You see them sprouting for about 5 seconds and then they'll erupt. You have loads of time to move out of them. Spiteful, when you kill a mob, it will drop a Spiteful Shade. The Spiteful Shade will fixate on a player and move towards them. You simply kite it and it will die off in its own time. Fortified, the non-boss enemies have increased health and damage, so bring a talent build that can accommodate for that. So, why play WoW? Now, there's a few reasons why people might play WoW. They might want to have certain goals within the game. They might want to escape. They might want to have fun, play with friends, many different reasons for it. I'm going to start off with the goals, mainly. So, in World of Warcraft, you have a lot of things that you can achieve in WoW. This being achievements, mounts, titles like Gladiator or high-end mythic keys, something like that. Something to show off, essentially. Now, if you set yourself a goal and you complete that goal, you get a sense of fulfillment or achievement, don't you? This is the case for anything in life, and World of Warcraft and any other game will have this. But you can set your sights on something and track it relatively well with WoW and the in-game stuff that you can look at. So achievements wise, let's say you want, I think there's about 5,000 achievements in the game. Let's say you want to hit 3,000 achievements. Okay, you're 1,000 achievements away. What achievements are the most optimal? So each day you'll go on and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to try this achievement next. And, you'll have a list of 10 achievements that you want to do. And there'll be complete 10,000 quests, get 50,000 honor, that sort of thing. Very simple achievements. And you'll do these 10 achievements and you'll know that you've made your progress to that 3,000. And then you do your next 10 achievements the next day or, the next week or whatever, and you constantly have something that you're logging on for. There is that purpose when you log on. You don't just log on, run around a major city, and then log off 10 minutes later because there's nothing to do, in quotation marks, which a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people do struggle to find a purpose within the game at the moment. And that is because in the game we are in between sort of patches. We are very much in a slow period of WoW. It's coming to the end of it, but March is generally when we're going to get Season 4 for retail, and then Cataclysm will be later on. Season of Discovery did release yesterday as of this episode coming out, Phase 2, so you do have that if you want to, but generally you want to have something to do when you log on. Before you even log on to WoW, you want that purpose. And these achievements, these mounts and stuff do have that purpose, because you can go and get some cosmetic items and mounts which help you towards achievements. And these mounts might be really cool. You might find another favorite mount of yours that you didn't even know existed. You look at like the mount journal and you're like, oh my god, Ashes of Alar. That's really cool, that mount. Where do I get it? Tempest Keep. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I do that every day or every week, every reset, whenever it is. Or I'm going to do it on like a few characters every week. There is one item that I personally have always wanted that I can't get for the life of me. It is the Proudmoor music box, and you get this by being exalted with Proudmoor Admiralty, and you get a cash when you get 10,000 rep above exalted. You get a little cash, and it can be in this cash. I've got this cash 10 times, not seen it yet, and it's something that I really, really want, and that I keep an eye out every few days. There is a Proudmoor Admiralty sort of what would you say, emissary like quest thing, where you do 4 world quests and then you turn it in for a big chunk of reputation. I always keep an eye out for that, and that's my purpose every few days, to do that on my monk. That's what my monk is mainly there for, but essentially it's like something that I always want to be on the lookout for and constantly want to do. And this is good because it gives me that purpose on my monk to go back to old zones like BFA, Mists of Pandaria, Wrath of the Lich King, so Northrend, Burning Crusade. It gives me these options to go back to old expansions and, do some of the content that was there. It isn't all just outdated and useless. That's the difference. So having goals in WoW is really big, and it is a big reason to play World of Warcraft in these sort of down periods. And even in like WoW in general, I know that there is a player who constantly collects mounts, who collects like everything, essentially. Your thing might just be collect mounts, and someone I'm pretty sure is very close to collecting every single mount in the game. I'm pretty sure there's like, how many mounts? I feel like there's loads, like 1,000 plus, and I feel like someone's at like 1,000, like 50, like more remaining, something like that. They're very close, and I think that's a really cool thing and a niche thing to do, because not everyone does it, and you can lord over everyone like, oh my god, I had the most mounts in WoW at this time, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool actually. Some people might think it's sad, but it's kind of cool. That's how you wanted to play the game, so that's how you played the game. And that's really, if that's how you enjoy it, then by all means, like, it's amazing to see. And that's where I think WoW has its niche things, because you can play it however you want. You have pet battles, you have PvP, PvE, you have transmog runs, you have mount runs, you have achievements. You have loads of different things that you can do in WoW that aren't involving just PvE and PvP content. Like, they're obviously the biggest things, but, it's such a bigger game than just them two things. Now, the next one is playing with friends. If you don't have friends, then that's unfortunate, but you can't make friends in WoW. It's one of them things, like your friends might not play WoW, but there is that possibility to make friends in WoW. I think a lot of people misunderstand how easy-ish it is to make friends in WoW. I do some arenas from time to time with one of my like main people that I play with in terms of like threes, and we played late-ish at night when everyone's gone to bed, and we just do looking for group. We're not doing anything too serious. We're not pushing like a certain rating yet. We just want to get back in the swing of things after taking a little break from WoW, like PvP and stuff like that. And we came across this monk in looking for group. He was very, very chill. He was very good as well. Monks aren't in the greatest spot at the moment, especially with our composition, but we enjoy playing with him because he's a good player. You can tell that he's a good player, good healer. Monks just don't bring utility for what we need as a comp. We play Arcane Mage Boomy, and we need something to lock down the target. Like, leg sweep's good, but the monk usually is very telling when he's going to do that, essentially. It's not like a shaman that has grounding totem, static field totem, all of that stuff. But it is what it is. Now, the reason that we played with the monk was we weren't going anywhere in terms of rating. We were very much win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. But he was a very nice chap, and he was constantly talking to us and stuff like that. And he just generally had a conversation with us. And this leads me into the point, people just don't do that in the game anymore. And that includes Classic, by the way. Classic is, in my honest opinion, one of the worst places, like, at the moment for WoW. Because the whole Classic community, where it's like, oh, you had to talk to everyone and stuff like that, yeah, that's great. And you do to some extent. But I meet more people who are dickheads in Classic than I do in retail. And that's the problem. Because in retail, no one's obligated to, well, in Classic and retail, no one's obligated to be nice to you. Everyone can be a dick. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And that's the sad reality. Everyone will be a dick if they can be. They just want to get their business done, whether it be, sell you something and then piss off, or whether it's just, have a conversation and, like, just log off. It's nothing too crazy. It's all transactional. And, like, the actual difference of this guy, this monk, just talking and having a conversation and having a laugh with us, even after we lose games, is such a difference. And we've added him, and we've played with him since, like, a few times. And that's how simple it is to make a friend in WoW. You just have to be nice for once. I am obviously not a saint in World of Warcraft. I've had my fair share of being a dick to someone. But I don't actively try and be a dick to someone if they aren't a dick to me first, if that makes sense. So, you get what you give kind of thing. I invited someone, this was a couple nights ago, we were looking for group on some alts, on our mains, and I put in the thing, be a certain experience and stuff like that, because we're looking to push, and we had a priest join, and he put 2.4k like XP or whatever it was, and he had something on his name, like a little symbol. I couldn't type it in to check him, so I invited him, copied his name, checked him, and then said, sorry, it's not going to work, and then removed him. Now, he did say why invite me in the first place, and I went on to explain, and I was like, no, I'm really sorry, man, I couldn't, type in your name, so I had to copy it while you were in the group. And he was like, okay, makes sense, it's no worries. And I did say, I apologise for all of it, it is a bit misleading, but hopefully you have a good night, and, take care. And he, what's the word, reciprocated it? No. Repeated it? Repeated the energy is the best way that I'll say it. He gave me that same energy back. He was like, no worries, completely understand, take care, and have a good night as well. It doesn't have to be toxic interactions. We probably could have made friends with that guy, to be honest. If we played with him for a bit, he wasn't, he did lie a bit and, did up his numbers in terms of what his experience was. But, I mean, everyone would to try and get into a group. It's not really anything new. But yeah, if we really tried, we could have probably been friends with him. So if you don't have anyone to play with, sadly in WoW, there are ways to make friends. The best way is just be nice. A lot of people aren't nice in the game at the moment. Or for years, they haven't been nice. They've always been dicks, essentially. And it's like, oh my god, why even bother talking to people? And you find that one sort of shining light in the shit show. And it's like, okay, I can definitely be a mate with you and play the game with you and, do battlegrounds, do PvE, all of that stuff. And this is a good way to play the game. This is why you should play the game, to try and make that one friend or two friends that you play the game constantly with, and it gives your game another purpose to log on. It gives you a social interaction to have in the game. That kind of deal, which is really, really good. The third one I want to talk about is escape. Now, any sort of game, people are wanting to escape, like real life. It's a really good distraction from it. Whether it be Assassin's Creed, whether it be Call of Duty, Mass Effect, Halo, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone, Diablo, any sort of game. You play that game to have fun, to disconnect from anything. You want to lose yourself in the world of the game. And the way that you can do this in WoW is quest. Simply quest. Simply start playing a character. You log into your character and you can do transmog. you can just sit there and dress up your character. For hours, if you really wanted to, you can go and do quests. It's something that people overlook, but the quests are very, very good. It is a good gold source. It is a good lore source for the game, and it is a very nice and chilled, entertainment, essentially. Now, these quests, obviously, I would recommend reading the quest text because they do all have a story behind them. There is a reason you're doing these quests. It isn't just go kill 8 boars because, we're dickheads and we just want to kill some boars. It's that kind of deal, it isn't that simple. There are reasons to doing the quests, but the idea is to escape reality and escape the game, or not the game, escape into the game. And you can do this by embracing what the game has to offer. So, like I said, transmog quests, achievements, PvP, PvE, anything in the game, even pet battles. If you really want to make the best pet battle team ever, you can do that. You can spend hours theory crafting on what is the best pet battle and the most % chance to win. Say you've got 5 pets, all of them level 25, and you theory craft that these are the best 3 pets because the chances of you coming up against a beast or something, is very low, or the lowest percentage chance. So you can theory craft as much shit as you want. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, it is a means to escape. Any sort of game really is. And World of Warcraft has that in such an abundance. It's unreal. And I think this is the main reason why people want to play WoW. Because they want to just chill for a bit. Everything seems like it's a shit show right now in the world. Why can't people just chill for a bit? It's refreshing. It does recharge you. Like how you plug in your phone at night to recharge the battery of it. This is how you recharge. Some people might not recharge at it. They might be screaming at their arena team and, in solo shuffle and absolutely flaming, punching their monitors. If they recharge that way, they recharge that way. It costs a monitor, but it is what it is. But no, it is a way to recharge for a lot of people and escape. And this is why I think WoW is one of the best ones at that. Because, yes, you can have single-player games, which is really good. They entice you into the single-player story. But once you've done the story, you've done it. It's the same for questing in WoW. The main quest throughout the zones. Once you've done it, you've done it. But WoW has so many other things that you can do. And other games do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that single-player games don't have anything else to do. There's usually side objectives and stuff like that. But WoW, over the course of its 20 years now, has added so many things, and it is such a great escape for a lot of people, and this is why it is probably one of the best ways to. Now, these are the main sort of reasons why you would play WoW, and these are probably without even realizing why you would play WoW. It doesn't make it wrong, and want to have these reasons for logging into WoW. Because stuff does get a bit hectic, and it is very, very good to have these reasons to log on. You don't ever just want to log on, stand around for 5 minutes and be like, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to log off. It was a waste of 5 minutes, and if you do that for a week, you've wasted, 35 minutes? And then for 2 weeks, 70 minutes, an hour and 10, and then, so on and so forth. So you waste a lot of time just by doing these 5 minute log in, stand around, do nothing, log out kind of thing. You want to have a purpose when you log on, and these are the reasons to have a purpose. So the escape one is very much a source of why you go on to WoW, but the other sections, sort of have some goals for yourself, make some friends, just have fun in general, those are the reasons why you should be logging on to escape, rather than just log on, zone out for 5 minutes, log off, that kind of deal. Yeah, these are the main reasons why you would play WoW, in my opinion. But I'm going to move on to a small sort of forum section where there's a couple of things that I've found, and I kind of want to try these, maybe on a weekly basis, depending on how it feels. So we'll see. But a couple of these are... Well, one of these is very simple, and I just have to address this because it annoyed me. And the other two are for newer players, actually. These are the forums for newer players and kind of very simple questions that, older people might not realize. But these questions are very difficult for a new player to understand and comprehend. And I thought I would give some advice on it. So the first one is the one that I really have to just address. Social contract. Not sure what's up, but I feel like I get this social contract every 2 weeks. Annoying. I don't speak to people unless they are RL friends or family. Get a grip. So, for those that don't know, the social contract is when you log into WoW, it brings up a small page. This page is a wall of text. This text just says that you should be very nice to people. You shouldn't conduct yourself in any ill manner. You shouldn't be swearing or being racist or anything like that. The very simple stuff that you shouldn't be doing in real life, like be racist or anything like that. And it's just saying, please don't do it in game, and it is a bannable offense. And this guy is complaining that comes up every 2 weeks. All you have to do is scroll to the bottom and accept. If you want to read it, you can, but I'll give you the very basic version. It says that if you're a dick to anyone, you can be banned. Now, obviously, if it's like, oh, piss off, stuff like that, like, it's deemed as rude, but kind of like, it's a grey area. But, racism, sexism, anything like that, just going above and beyond and being an absolute fucker about it, sorry, but, like, you're going to get banned. Like, it takes 2 seconds to accept this letter. And some people need to get it in their head that this isn't okay. Like, acting this way and being, all these things, saying these sort of things to other people, it's not okay. And I think that having it every 2 weeks isn't enough. Maybe every time you log in, you should get it or something, because it really should, like, hammer home the, like, point that you shouldn't be saying these things and that it is a bannable offense. It really is a bannable offense, and I don't get why people get angry at it. Now, the next one is quite cool. So, how to avoid AoE damage. New to WoW, I've been wondering, how do you actually avoid AoE/ground damage? Because I seem to run away, and by that time I'm already dead. Where might I be going wrong? I know basics such as avoiding cleave/frontal damage, etc., but AoE damage feels different, especially as it's hard to recognise and judge the effects when they're all under your character. Any advice appreciated? So, obviously people have their own reasons for this, but for AoE effects, there is a setting that isn't always enabled. I had this in Shadowlands, it just disabled it for me, but it is a setting on the main menu, and it is an enable and disable option. You want this enabled. I think it's the only enable and disable option on that, like, general page when you go into your interface. But make sure this is enabled, and it will allow you to see the AoE effects on the floor. This is very important. You need above low quality settings, but if you go to low quality settings, in terms of like a 1 or 2 on that bar, you can go 1 to 10 on your quality settings. If you go to a 1 or 2, it will disable it, I believe, but you can still enable it, like, separately, essentially. So go down, find that setting, and essentially enable it. It's just below that, like, 1 to 10 bar, and it is the only enable and disable option in that sort of general section. So make sure that's enabled to clearly see AoE effects. This is very important. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it's something like particle density, I believe. No, not particle density. Actually, it might be something like that. It's around the particle density setting. I'm sorry, I completely forgotten it. I want to say it's like SSOA setting, but I don't think that is it. I can't remember that exactly. But yes, this is what you want to be enabled. Secondly, AoE effects are more, it's tough depending on the content that you do. Normal dungeons, you're not going to die to it as much. Heroic, mythic and stuff, you will be, so you want to be quick with it. Generally, you want to pop a defensive. If you're in the middle of an AoE effect, you want to be moving from it. But if you're dying before you're moving out of it, then you want to be popping an AoE effect. A defensive, I should say, sorry. So this person who posted this was a rogue. Now, for a rogue, you have a couple of options. You have Shroud, Cloak of Shadow, sorry. You have Feint, which is a area of effect reduced, like damage thing, by 30%, I think, something like that. And you have Sprint to get out of it quicker. You Vanish to an extent will help you with this as well. Crimson Vial, if it's like not that too deadly, like this will just give you a heal whilst you're running out, that kind of deal. There are ways that you can mitigate the damage whilst you are running out, and if you are dying to these mechanics, then you do need to use some of these to get yourself out of the AoE. Secondly, the bosses will always follow sort of a pattern if you are doing PvE, so you kind of know when they're going to put down an AoE effect, so you want to like rerun, if that makes sense, like constantly running, like strafing side to side, so that you're on your toes, in a manner of speaking. Another good way of doing this is to download Deadly Boss Mods. Deadly Boss Mods is a add-on from CurseForge. So you want to download CurseForge, and then in CurseForge download Deadly Boss Mods, DBM it should be called in CurseForge, and you can enable everything in terms of dungeons and stuff, and it will show you the timers of what a boss can do. So if it has Death and Decay, this boss, it will show a timer of when it is either going to occur or when it can occur after. It's one of the two. So it will either occur as soon as that timer runs out, or it will occur after that timer runs out, some point after, at a random point. Could be within the next 5 seconds, could be within the next 20 seconds, but generally within the next 5 seconds it is. So yeah, that's probably the best advice that I can give for that one. Yeah, it's quite cool to find this like sort of newer player on the forums, and I'll try and do 1 or 2 of these every sort of episode, because getting newer players into WoW is very tough, and I'm looking to hopefully help at least some people out with some of the basics or even more experienced stuff, because some people still die to AoE now, even like after playing the game for so long. So, hopefully it helps people out a little bit. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. As always, do check out all of the socials down below. Constant stuff happening over there. And please do rate, share, anything to do with the podcast. It really helps spread the word. And yeah, once again, thank you all very much for listening. And go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.